Thank you for watching this presentation on the HABIC Ambassadors Program. This presentation will go over what the Ambassador Program is, what ambassadors do, and how COVID-19 is affecting the program. This is Kate Miller speaking. I'm one of the animal trainers and volunteer coordinators here at HABIC, and I'll be narrating this presentation today. Generally speaking, an ambassador is an experienced HABIC volunteer. They model the human-animal bond with their own animals, and they create great relationships with other people. These volunteers stand out as excellent role models and are invited to become ambassadors. If you accept the role of becoming an ambassador, you are willing to take on extra responsibility in helping to onboard and mentor new volunteers. We do ask that ambassadors commit to at least 1 year of being an ambassador. Before we get too far in this presentation, we want to clear up some of the differences between our programs. There are 3 main ways that volunteers can become more involved in HABIC. These include the Advisory Council, the Program Support Committee, and becoming an ambassador. Let's quickly look at the difference in the Ambassador Program and the Program Support Committee. Ambassadors will help newly certified HABIC teams to become comfortable as they begin volunteering. This is done through the onboarding process. After the new volunteer is onboarded, the ambassador will continue to have a relationship with them by checking in with them periodically. The ambassador plays a critical role in getting the new volunteers started and then maintains a relationship with them throughout their time as a volunteer. In contrast, a program support committee member will do a one-time observation of the team. The PS committee member sees the team for a snapshot in time. They are not involved in the onboarding process, and they do not typically maintain a long-term relationship with the volunteer. We can go into how the ambassador program will work under normal conditions without the COVID-19 pandemic. Ambassadors will be involved in providing shadowing, mentoring, and offering continued support. We'll go into each of these in more detail in the following slides. The first thing an ambassador will do is provide a shadowing opportunity for new volunteers. The new volunteer will come and shadow the ambassador as the ambassador does their regular volunteer shift. This typically happens while the new volunteer is still in training before they have become certified. The new volunteer does not have their dog with them. They are simply there to gain a better understanding of what it means to volunteer at the agency and gain a better understanding of whether this agency will be a good fit for them. After a new volunteer has been certified and begins volunteering, the ambassador is present during the volunteer's first 3 shifts, or more if needed. The ambassador does not have their dog with them. The ambassador is there to make sure the new volunteer knows where to go in the agency, knows the protocols, and the ambassador is there in case the new volunteer has any questions. From there, the ambassador will continue to offer support to the volunteer. The ambassador is available to answer questions and checks in periodically with the volunteer to see how they are doing. The goal is that the ambassador program can help foster a sense of camaraderie among volunteers. We want to pause here and discuss the question of what if my animal is retired? Don't worry, if your animal is retired, you can still be an ambassador. HABIC staff will work with you to coordinate a shadowing opportunity with an active HABIC team. From there, your responsibilities as an ambassador would be the same. The typical role of ambassadors, which we outlined in previous slides, cannot take place during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there are still ways ambassadors can connect with existing volunteers, even during the pandemic. Ambassadors can begin building relationships with the volunteers assigned to them. This can be done through phone calls, emails, or even through Zoom. Ambassadors can introduce themselves and explain that they are available to offer additional support to volunteers. Ambassadors can use this time to simply get to know the volunteers assigned to them. Ambassadors can also help connect volunteers with new resources and materials as HABIC develops them. Ambassadors are not responsible for creating the material, only for passing it along to the volunteers. Materials include zoonotic disease training, restarting in-person visits, virtual visits, and additional dog training opportunities. Again, ambassadors are simply helping the staff to disseminate the materials to the volunteers. Especially when it comes to technology and policy updates, ambassadors don't need to be experts. They simply pass along the information and are available to direct volunteers to HABIC staff if there are questions and concerns. We are so excited to begin this new program, especially during the pandemic. The pandemic is well known to be a time of isolation for many people, So beginning the Ambassador program now is a great way to connect people when they may need it the most. We will go over the next steps for the Ambassador program in the following slides. First, ambassadors will be assigned to a group of 5 to 10 existing HABIC volunteers. Ambassadors are encouraged to reach out to their volunteers and introduce themselves. HABIC staff will work with all of the ambassadors to disseminate training materials and resources for their volunteers. Ambassadors will check in with HABIC staff at least monthly to discuss how the program is going and if the ambassadors have any feedback. Finally, we want to recognize the amazing efforts that you are putting forward as an ambassador. In addition to our gratitude, we would also like to feature the ambassadors on the HABIC website and provide you with a customized name badge and potentially other HABIC promotional items as well. Thank you so much for watching this presentation, and thank you for being willing to help us embark on this new program. We believe it will go a long way in creating a better volunteer experience for all of our volunteers. So thank you.